I was only 7 and I couldn't figure out. I knew that you were going along, and that in my mind, I thought the boat rolled off the track and then floated down to a lower level. You know, I couldn't conceive of how the track would dip. That was beyond a 7-year-old. So I just said, it's really neat. You're going really along, and then it just sort of drops down and goes up. And it was so magical because, like, you know, every child and adult has passed through a point in their life where you thought the ultimate thing would be to fly out of your bedroom window out over the city and look down. I mean, there's so many movies that have capitalized on it. And so here at Disneyland, you do that. And what I think is great about the ride, it's simple by today, but it still has a line. Right now, I can tell you there's probably 30 minutes or more of people waiting to go on that ride because it's so aspirational. And that's what I always look for, is something that everybody is aspiring to do. And you know, it's just another thing that gives you an edge on being successful. Oh, it was more than a cool place to go to when I was a kid. I would fool my parents into giving me money to play miniature golf and come to Disneyland with it. So it was always like, how do I get in here and become employed at Disneyland so I can go here free? Then how do I get to Imagineering so I can contribute? And then when I got to Imagineering, how do I have an impact on it? And I was fortunate, I think, to have the DNA similar to what Walt did originally, that allowed me to be very proficient at coming up with ideas and stuff. So, and then, because you can't do anything alone, being able to have the ability to tap the shoulders of unbelievably talented people who could get onto that bus and make it happen, make it real. So, you know, it was just taking advantage of one step at a time until you got to do what you really wanted. Well, I always tell someone, find something you're really good at, and then try to analyze what could I do that would make me stand out more than anyone else applying for the same thing, and also very talented at it. And for me, I was really okay as an artist, but then I came up with a thing that showed my engineering ability. And I think that was what gave me the edge, because they said, well, we're hiring an artist, but we do a lot of engineering here, so Tony can cross over back and forth, so we'll hire him over the other person. So, you know, become very, very proficient in one thing, and then find a way to, you know, be honest with yourself and say, what is it that I can do that no one else can do? I think one of the effective things is finding a mentor. If you've gotten in the door and you've done everything I just answered in that question, so you're in, now how do you succeed? You've got to find someone that thinks like you think and isn't threatened by your arrival. I think one of the things that happens is if the age gap gets too narrow, then the guy you're mentoring under is going to be leery of you taking his role away. But like for Claude and I, he was 70 and I was 23. He didn't worry about me, you know, and my career wouldn't peak for another 20 years. So it was like a really great relationship, and it's two-way. That's the other thing. You can't just go in and have an hour of lecture from a mentor. The mentor's got to take your ideas and use them. And you work together, and he learns things from, you're so far removed from the learning curve that he went through that you get a lot from it. And so when I see all these young people that they were trained digitally in school, I was trained with paintbrushes and all of that, and so they bring an entire new thing to it that has been really an eye-opener for me. And the way they think is different, the way they process data is different. They don't go to libraries, you know. I've gotten very comfortable myself online finding information, but it was a secondary, whereas for them it's how they learn. So
you were taking away a lot.
Yeah. So I think, you know, find someone that you're comfortable with. Don't just be assigned a mentor. That's stupid. A mentor thing, it's a two-way. You're going to be training and teaching your mentor if you're the mentee and vice versa. So I think that's the most important thing. Is how I really made it through school and how I made it through Imagineering. Yeah. Well, that would have to probably be a Disneyland, it would be Indiana Jones. It was because I really was dependent on the engineers to lick all the engineering problems with making a mobile simulator that would roll around and not overheat and all of that. So they went away into a cave and worked for about 18 months and then said, okay, you can come back, we think it works. And we reassembled the creative team and started working at that point on that. So it was crossing your fingers. We didn't even have the nerve to call it the Indy ride. We called it the Thor vehicle for about a year and a half. And that way, oddly enough, now Thor is a major project for Disney, but had it gone awry, it would have died as the Thor project. But it was successful and it became Indy. So that was a tough one. I'll have a hard time looking at this one, but I was just saying to someone that all of those are my idols up there that I grew up with, and then I was lucky to work with a lot of them, so they became personalities. But all the gains that I got from each one of them, I don't have any gains from mine, because someone will look at mine with the same way that I look at those, but I can't look at it the same way as I look at all the other ones, and I will continue to look at all the other ones the same way. And I think, ponder, how did I get up there with all these people? That's probably the weirdest part of it.